All right, this is phase 2 of my Steam Deck powered mini pinball cabinet. I'll have a link to my original video below. I originally installed Windows 10 on a micro SD card that would run off the Steam Deck and boot Pinup Popper and VPX and all that stuff. And it worked great for a while until it started getting really wonky. According to some people on Reddit, you should not run Windows off of a micro SD card because it'll just go badly. So I started over and I put Windows 11 on this external USB SSD. I wanted it to be powered. I don't know if that was absolutely necessary, but I thought it was probably a good idea. So I added this USB hub, which the SSD card is connected to. The Steam dock has these connections. This is the HDMI secondary display, which is the play field. This USB goes to the USB encoder inside for all the pinball buttons. And this one goes to the USB hub. So essentially, if I needed anything else, keyboard, mouse, whatever, I would just attach it to this USB hub. On that note, I use a thumb drive to transfer tables and ROMs back and forth because I really don't want this machine to really need to be online ever. So I kind of keep it offline for the most part. And then I go to my primary computer. I load this up with tables and ROMs. I just put them into this, just put the thumb drive right here. And I copy my tables over and all that. So yeah, I want this thing to, for all intents and purposes, just be an offline pinball machine. So you can see it's running really well. I also added these 6-inch bed risers, make it a really nice height so I can stand and play, and it's very comfortable. That was a huge and cheap upgrade that I'm very pleased with. That also gives me room to store a USB keyboard and mouse underneath, which I use for, adding tables, adjusting settings, things like that. So yeah, this is great. Also, if I want to take the drive off and do something with it, I just use these 3M command strips. So I can just take it off, go do whatever I need with it, put it back on. The USB hub is mounted with double-sided heavy-duty tape. It's just always going to be there. There's the amp. There's the power supply. It was important for me to only have one cord going into the cabinet, and I want everything to be powered internally with that one cord. So I'll show you some of the inner workings now. The cabinet came with a 3-outlet power strip, which was fine. Now that I'm using an external SSD drive to load Windows, I want to keep it powered to a USB hub, so I needed another outlet. So I'm just adding this one. I'm going to use double-sided tape, and I'm going to mount it right here, and that's where I'm going to plug in any additional components that require power. And so now that the secondary power strip is mounted, this is the power for the power brick for the monitor, which goes to the monitor. And this is the power for the USB hub, which I've mounted on the back. So when it starts up, one thing that I found with the amp that I'm using, if the amp is turned on before the Steam Deck is booted, it's just going to pop, 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 like it has no signal. And even once it has an audio signal, it'll still keep popping. The only workaround I found is just leave it off and turn it on once it's booted. I'm just going to power it on. You can see my dogs are anxiously awaiting their turn to play pinball. So it's going to boot up Windows 11. In the startup folder, I added Joy to Key so that it would just auto load on startup. And then I added Pinup Popper to the startup folder also. So after just a minute, it'll just boot up. And it's using the Pinup Popper 2-screen display. So as you can see, the Steam Deck is going to show the back glass. So now that it's booted, I'll show you. Then we turn on the amp. and it sounds great. So everything works great. The Steam Deck is really good for doing VPX. I install almost every table on here is the VPW version of the tables, because it's kind of accepted that if VPW makes a table, that's the one you want. It's hard to argue because they do some quality work. I love that there's such great hobbyists that are so into this that do such awesome work. I love it. So this is almost all VPW. There's a few exceptions. They did not have Champion Pub or Medieval Madness, so I used non VPW tables, and those are also still great. But it's really good. The Steam Deck is more than capable of running VPX. So if you're on a budget and you don't have money to buy a big beefy computer, the Steam Deck will do it for you. It's really good. I'm so happy with this cabinet and with this mod and how it's all turned out. It's really great. This cabinet was provided by Game Room Solutions. I'll put a link also in the description. Really cool people that did a great job making this custom cab for me. But yeah, if you watch my first video, everything that I did there is still valid, with the one very important exception: don't put Windows on an SD card. Put it on external SSD instead. Learn from my mistakes. Also, here's how I have the buttons laid out. On each side, I've got flipper and nudge. This is escape. This I set to O for operator menu, so I can use that to do any pinup popper stuff I need, like recording a playfield, for example. All the playfield videos you see here, I recorded after I'd set them up. And then here I've got, this is insert coin, and this is start, and that's launch. I'm really happy with this. I like this cabinet a lot. I like this mod a lot. I like this build very, very much.